I said same thing in lean. Start with the foundation. What is foundation in lean? They asked me that question. I said 5S. It's a good saying in lean culture that we have or in our lean environment is, if you can't do 5S, forget about the rest.
Today, I'm excited to welcome Alen Ganic back to the show. Now, I've known Alen for a long time, and he used to be a Gemba Academy customer and was a friend for many years. And well, I'm excited to say that he actually has joined Gemba Academy. He's joined our team. He's one of our senior coaches, and he spends most of his time coaching our folks going through our Lean Practitioner certification program. So very, very popular. One of our, well, I don't know if it's more popular than Black Belt, but it's very, very popular. And so Alen spends his days just talking and coaching to folks who are going through that program, helping them with any sort of lean activity they got going on. And he's fantastic. And but today I asked Alen to come on. He and I had been talking a little bit about flow. He wrote a blog article recently. We'll link to it. And talking about the difference between what we would call flow efficiency and resource efficiency. And so really, no matter what sort of work you do, whether you're in a hospital, he spends a lot of time today talking about healthcare, but also obviously manufacturing, or if you work in an office, it doesn't really matter. The whole idea of flow efficiency versus resource efficiency is very applicable. And so we walk through some examples and we talk about why you should really focus on flow efficiency from the customer's perspective. So really good stuff. I think you're going to enjoy it. And show notes can be found over at GembaPodcast.com. Look for episode 544. Also, if you are interested in that Lean Practitioner certification or our other certifications, we've got some fast track options where you come here to Keller, Texas and do some of the training in person. So it goes much faster than just watching videos. Head over to GembaAcademy.com and we'll link everything up in the show notes. And we'd love to talk to you about it. Okay. Again, show notes, episode 544, just go to GembaPodcast.com. Okay. Enough from me. Let's get to the show. Alen, welcome back to the show. How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah. Episode 521 was the last time that you were on. So, a few things have happened since we last talked. Like, you joined Gemba Academy.
That's true, yeah.
Anyhow, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. But right out of the gate, Alen, we like to start with a quote. So what do you got?
My quote today is my personal quote that I usually use when I teach youth and speak at conferences. Help others to help yourself.
Help others. Say it again.
Help others to help yourself.
So what's that mean?
For example, when you help other people, you're always going to benefit from it. I'll give you a few examples. I always like to volunteer, helping others, poor people, refugees, nonprofit organizations like Michigan Lean Consortium. Example there would be I helped them organize events when I was living in Michigan, and when I was part of Michigan Lean Consortium, and I learned a lot. Yeah. By helping them, I gain a lot of knowledge, so I benefit from it.
Well, even just the whole idea, and it's been a buzzword for many, many years, but the whole idea of servant leadership, right? When you serve others, you're actually, benefiting yourself and them and, the world really in general. So,
yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. Well, so in case people didn't hear the last episode that you were on, Alen, tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe let's start with your background, how you got involved in all this continuous improvement stuff, and then tell us about your role here at Gemba Academy today.
Sure. My name is Alen Ganic. I started practicing lean in an auto manufacturing environment about 24 years ago. This is where I learned lean.
What were you, like 15 years old?
No. Yeah, I wish. Yeah. No, I wasn't, but that's where I fell in love with lean. On the production floor where people were teaching me lean for 2 years. Okay. I fell in love with lean and I said I will never go back to the old traditional ways of managing and leading teams. And then after working out of manufacturing different plants, had a lot of success, but I moved to government. I wanted to make a change in government. And one of my biggest accomplishments while working in government, besides working many different projects, improving processes in government, was establishing first lean conference for government employees, state, federal, and local government, where we had, I think at first conference was 40 people. So that was one of my dreams. And honestly, I'm working on a book, writing how to apply lean in government, because still today I have many friends. They work for government, don't know how to improve something, or even worse, don't know when they do make improvement, how to sustain it.
Yeah.
So my focus right now, the book that I'm writing is talking about how to apply lean in government.
Nice.
And then last time I was here, I was not Gemba Academy employee. I have to be honest with the audience. I never planned to be Gemba Academy employee. I was speaking here how I was a customer of Gemba Academy. And the reason why I was a customer, because I think really highly of this company. I think we have the best content when it comes to lean. And today I am a senior Lean Six Sigma coach working for Gemba Academy. I'm so excited to be here, part of this team here, where we continuously help every day. So remember my quote earlier? So I am helping now others, and they're helping me through this journey. I have many lean practitioner customers here in my current role, where I enjoy coaching others how to apply lean in their environment. Doesn't matter if they're in healthcare, if they're in government, work somewhere in the production floor, executives as well. So it's so exciting to be part of a team and have a chance now to coach others and spread this lean love.
No, well, we love having you here, man. Super excited about the future. So, all right, well, let's jump in. Kind of I guess maybe the general theme of the discussion will be on what we're calling flow efficiency. But I thought maybe we'd take one step back. You know, we talk a lot about in lean, depending on your experience, you know, flow and pull and value and all these buzzwords, you know, that have been around for many, many years. But when you talk about flow, Alen, what do you mean?
What I mean is we need to concentrate from the customer perspective. Flow. So it has a flow, it's a continuous flow. So the customer does not have any delays and there are no bottlenecks in between. So that's a perfect flow. Many people in the lean world would say, oh, our goal is to get to the pull system, you know, where we pull.
Yeah.
Kanban system, and that's good. It's better than the push system. Like back in the days, we used to make X amount of certain cars and certain colors, and then we pushed it to the dealership, and then poor dealers had to deal with it and try to convince people to buy those cars. Right. Where nowadays we have a pull system in many cases where people have a choice and they can pull from the lot that the car they want. The flow system would be, I get exactly what I want when I want it. And so that's the difference a little bit between pull and flow and continuous flow.
Yeah, I like to say when people will get a little bit excited about their Kanban system, which again is great. It's better than just, you know, pushing material around when nobody wants it. But you know, said when you can't flow, pull.
Yes.
Right. And I remember being in was it NGK spark plugs in Japan. I went there many years ago. I think they made like crazy, like 1 million spark plugs a day or something insane like that. And I remember walking around and looking and just, you know, just constant movement of spark plugs moving about this facility. And I remember asking the manager who was giving us the tour, you know, through a translator, I said, hey, can you ask him, you know, where their Kanban are, you know? I didn't see any. And a translator speaking Japanese, the guy said, man, where's your Kanban? And all of a sudden the manager kind of squinted his eyes a little bit and his eyebrows kind of, and he kind of grumbled back to the translator. Bah, 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 bah. And then the translator looked at me and says, no Kanban, only flow. I was like, okay. I felt like a dumb American, you know. So, anyhow. All right. Well, so if we think about flow, and what about, you know, there's a term that we often use about something about flow efficiency versus resource efficiency. What are those two things, first of all? And then why should you focus on one over the other?
That's a good question. So resource efficiency is focusing mainly on utilizing that resource that we invested money into it, right? So I'll give you an example, because since I have many customers today going through a lean practitioner program in healthcare environment, I'll use an example in one of the hospitals that I am familiar with in the state of Michigan, where they switched from resource efficiency to the flow efficiency. Resource efficiency, back in the day, what they had a specific piece of equipment that they use in the hospital environment. They had specific rooms. For example, patient comes into an ER and they have an issue where they need to have an x-ray. They would roll that bed and the patient to the x-ray room, and everybody in the hospital goes to the same room. So there's some wait time. Everybody needs to get x-rays and all that. So that's really focusing on utilizing that x-ray machine as a resource, right? So it costs a lot of money. You want to utilize it and have a good return on investment. Where in the flow efficiency, where this same hospital, and by the way, all my 3 kids were born in this hospital, so I'm very familiar with this hospital. So I was pleasantly surprised just before moving to Texas, where they have switched from resource efficiency, which I well known in the day, to flow efficiency. So in my personal case, one of my family members I took to ER, and the patient never left the room. And what happened, I'm used to it. I said, okay, do I just wait in this room when I took the patient into the room? Do I just wait here and while she's getting the x-ray? And they said, no, you need to step outside. The x-ray is coming in. Because they have created this flow efficiency and it's focusing from the customer perspective. So imagine now when they worked on this project, I'm a little bit familiar with their a project that they had, Lean project. They had a camera put on their nurses, and they saw how much movement their patient, how many times that patient was moved from a room to a room just to utilize those resources. So they switched the idea, says, how can we make it better for the flow for the customer, so the customer can come in, get their services that they need as soon as possible, and go back home. In my personal case, I was 2 hours in the ER room, where back in the days, I would spend 2 hours at least in the waiting room. And because they created this flow efficiency, everything is done around the patient. It's not anymore going to a room in and out. That's one example. The other example would be in healthcare environment. I'm going to stick with healthcare environment. A patient has an issue, let's say breast cancer. A lady finds out that she has something and she thinks it's a breast cancer. She goes to a doctor. The doctor says, well, I need to send you to a specialist. And then 2 weeks later, you need to go see your results. Then they said you need to go do the tests. It can take about 2 to 8 weeks till that lady finds out the diagnosis, if she has or not breast cancer. And that is resource efficiency. We have these buildings, build these buildings in different locations. You have to schedule an appointment with everyone. From the lean perspective, if we look at from the flow efficiency, how the flows for the customer, in this case, this lady patient, imagine this lady patient goes to one facility, one big building, and she says, doctor, I think I have something that I need to be checked out. I'm afraid it's a breast cancer, but I want to confirm with you. And then immediately it goes to the next room, does the test that person needs to go. In that same building, these tests go to the person that's specialized in that area, relates the message to the primary doctor, and then within 2 to 4 hours, maybe that patient knows if this is a cancer, breast cancer or not. Imagine how much better it is for the patient.
No anxiety. The anxiety's still there, but it's done in a day, right? Versus having to wait 2 months, right? To know. Yes.
And that's why this hospital that I was mentioning, and they had a big advertising billboard on the side of the highway. And I was so stunned when I saw that. And it says on the billboard, welcome to our 24/7 emergency room, something in that nature. Please don't quote me. But it said something about, you will see a doctor in our emergency room in less than 20 minutes, or you don't owe us anything.
Wow.
Which means we guarantee you that you will see a doctor in 20 minutes, or if it takes longer, we'll take care of you, but you don't have to pay us anything. We don't need your insurance card. We don't need your credit card. Imagine that promise. And that's the only way, the reason why, because they were focusing on the flow efficiency, how quickly they can flow. And then to be honest with you, in that hospital, when I walked in, it was like the middle of the night, like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm used to seeing crying babies, sick people sitting there, and then you check in at the desk, and then you go and sit down with the rest of the people that are sick there. There was nobody there.
Wow.
So this lady quickly just asked us who we are, didn't look at anything like documentation. What is the purpose for your visit? And the nurse was standing by. One of the available nurses, and then she wheeled in us and then started the process. Everything was done in the room.
Wow. Oh, I mean, back in episode 67, this is many, many years ago, had a guy on, they call a lean dentist named Sammy Bari, episode 67. We'll get Jessica to link it up. He is very similar to what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure it's even better now, but this was many years ago. His idea was same thing. You go in for your cleaning, get your teeth cleaned. Then doing the cleaning, they look and say, "Oh, sorry, Alan, you've got a cavity," And what historically happens is what? You make an appointment, yes, you come back 2 weeks or later and sit there forever again. And, he says, "Hey, Alan, you got a cavity. You want to fix it?" Mm-hmm. "Yeah, I want to fix it." "Go." Yes. Boom. And he does it right there. So I just immediately transition to that. Now, obviously a lot of moving pieces there as far as scheduling and all the rest of it, but, he's figured it out. So that's, I think, another example of sort of flow efficiency, like just bringing value to the customer immediately, right? Streamlining all processes so it's quick and quick changeover, everything's involved, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, very good, very good. What about, this is a tough question. Like, what about, let's say in a manufacturing environment, you got some process to where you manufacture some material in some way and then you got it painted, but you got one big paint booth, that the whole big monument, as we would call, that the whole factory has got to work with. I mean, like in that case, you're sort of, beholden to the paint booth, right? So is there ways to sort of work around that as well? Like what do you think in that situation?
Switching from one paint to another and have a still continuously flow? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, well, and it could just be that, hey, the paint booth can only, maybe let's just say that the paint booth, I don't know, I can't remember. Back in, you could work in cell phone days. I remember there were some suppliers of ours that literally painted the covers, of the phone. And I do remember that they would tool up and do all the black ones and then they would do all the red ones. Batching, right?
Yes.
And so like that would be resource efficiency definitely. And there's some batching there, right? So maybe in that example, have the ability to have shorter lot sizes or something like that, so you could do more quick changeover type activity? Or what do you think? Like, how would you approach that?
Definitely. So in today's environment, many organizations, as you mentioned, including auto industry, let's stick with auto industry, they have a flow and continuous flow, and they don't do much of the batching like we used to back in the day. Our ideas was if we mass produce and batch bigger sizes, we utilize resource efficiency. In this case, as you mentioned, would be a paint booth. Logically, it makes sense, right? You run for a longer period of time, one color, then you have less color changes, cleaning the booth and all that. But then what happens if there's an issue with that paint? If there's a revision change or something in that nature, and now you have to scrap everything, right?
Yeah.
So we're flow efficiency to get to that level where you can switch quickly from paint to paint, and have smaller batch sizes, only what the customer needs, is we need to get better at improving our changeovers.
Yeah.
So this is many people that know lean, SMED comes into a place. Doesn't matter if it's a paint booth, changing molds out, whatever that is, we need to be faster at that, and we need to improve that. Talking about Formula One, many people know Formula One as a sport and how they have evolved over the years. And now the quickest changeover is 1.8 seconds, I believe, done by Ferrari. Now, if somebody does in 6 seconds, that's very slow.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to take hours. So I think to get to that level where we have continuous flow of what really customer wants, the color that they want, and we want to paint that, we need to get better and focus more on SMED in this case.
Yeah. Well, now I don't know how cell phones are. I've been out of the industry for a while now, but maybe don't even paint. Do it in injection molding, and add the color and the resin and all that. And so you don't even need to paint anymore, right? And so, okay, good. So I'm wondering then, talk a little bit more about what distinguishes flow efficiency from resource efficiency. Are there some key things that really sort of differentiate them?
Yes. So flow efficiency concerns the pace and smoothness of the overall process flow, while resource efficiency is more about the optimal use of inputs to achieve outputs.
Mm-hmm.
So
what's that mean?
So what that means is if you invest money, let's say in a production floor, let's switch now from healthcare to production floor. And I wrote a blog on Gemba Academy recently about this, where in one manufacturing environment, they heard about robots and how robots are good and they'd be more efficient. You can run 24/7 and reduce the labor cost, improve efficiency. And so this employer this company was so excited about that, and they invested millions of dollars. They paid more than $1 million in this robot. So it's a resource. So they pushed all the efforts in utilizing this resource to get a quick return on investment now for their resource. They said, we invested money, we want to put it into use. The problem is this robot was not at the point where it can create a product that is needed for the customer. And prior to buying this resource, jumping to a conclusion, the process in the past was good. It didn't solve any problem. So if you look at the back in the history and says, what problem did we try to solve? Really, it was a shiny object. People wanted to stick, move on with the new technology and all that. But there was not really a problem. There was no problem. There was on-time delivery was almost to the perfect. There was almost never any rejections for this particular item. But the company focused on this resource, purchasing the resources without having really a problem in that area. I'm not opposed to purchasing equipment, getting up to date and things like that. We have to. Technology is out there, but we always have to think about what problem are we trying to solve and how we're going to solve it. How purchasing this robot in this particular case was really going to solve the problem we have. If we look at that from the beginning, in this particular case, there was no problem. We had on time. Maybe we could have invested money somewhere else. So that's kind of...
didn't it actually, if I remember that example, I can't remember the article, but didn't it make it worse?
It actually made it worse. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So what happened, they start producing more, okay? And then the product got to the customer, and then these tanks, they were oil tanks, they start leaking. And then this is a pressurized oil tank, and they start leaking. Customers say, what's going on with your industry? They didn't know that the robot was purchased. Now somebody else's. So the robot was not programmed properly. Robot would go down a lot. There was not, staff was not well trained how to utilize this robot and how to fix it. So there was actually more downtime, more scrap. And then they had to hire, it got to the really bad with the customer experience where they had to hire a third party to come and sort every product that comes off the robot. And then and to make the long story short, our listeners can go and read the article, but they had to push the robot aside and go back to the old ways not to lose the customer. Because customer told them, if you don't fix this, we want a good product. We don't care how you create it. Yeah. We just want the product that we used to receive on time, 100% quality. Yeah. That's understandable. So they had to push that aside. So that's why we sometimes need to focus more on the customer perspective, like I was saying earlier today, about flow efficiency. How can we get quicker to customer? Sometimes the technology is not the fastest way. And I'll give you another example in government environment. I work on a government project where they were saying there's a new kiosk. The kiosk will replace the information desk, the call centers and all that, because the customers will be able, even if they don't have a computer, they'll be able to come to our different departments and fill out the things that they need at this kiosk. So instead of piloting this kiosk, they purchased a bunch of these kiosks because salesperson sold it to them and put it in various departments, and they start advertising to the citizens of that or residents of that town, hey, we have this kiosk. And then when we did a study, the usage of kiosk was very, very low. Return on investment, I don't know if they have it till today, if it's going to be next 30 years. Because it was not focusing on the customer perspective. What does customer really need? How can we eliminate waste in the process that we currently have without even investing money? Somebody had an idea, let's buy this a computer, nicely designed machine with a nice stand. And then we were watching, I was... sitting in the lobby of the city hall many times, and there's a kiosk, and there was information call. It's called 311 Center, where the humans take care of the issues. So I was watching one lady while I was waiting for another meeting. I was just sitting in the lobby, and she struggled with the kiosk. Not good with computer, a bunch of questions. Ended up going back in the line and then getting taken care of by the people who take care of this. And then that particular case, for example, they were very into lean. The lady who created this 311, Becky Jo, she was really into lean. I worked with many projects with her. And she designed it, she removed a lot of waste in her processes that she had for her employees. So her employees had more capacity. Her employees, if they didn't have any customers, they had other works to do. So they were not bored or anything like that. So that process, for example, worked much better than the process that I was mentioning, the other one that was a kiosk. She had people in their booths or whatever you want to call it, offices, taking care of customers, face to face, immediately taking care of them and helping them. And they were very well trained.
Yeah.
And then when they didn't have anything to do, they were helping on other things. They would close one of those shades, and then you see only one window if there's more customers, because she was training her staff to be customer focused. Let's improve the flow of the customer. We don't want to have a lot. You see two, 3 people waiting, open up another window.
Yeah.
There's another 2, 3 people, open a third window. And then if there's more, open all the windows to take care of the customers. So people didn't mind coming to the office or to the city hall to take care of the business, pay the bills, this and that.
Yeah.
Because they knew they're going to get faster. They're going to get better service doing it online, for example.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right. So everybody flow when you can.
Yes.
Pull if you have to, right? Yeah. So I'm wondering, just to wrap things up, I would be doing everybody disservice if I didn't ask you some really tactical sort of lean questions. I'm wondering if maybe there's someone listening right now who is, maybe they're just getting started. Maybe they're a Gemba Academy customer. I don't know. And they just joined Gemba Academy, or they're, even if they're not Gemba Academy customer, they're newer on their lean journey, their continuous improvement journey, Lean, Six Sigma, whatever it might be. Do you have any practical advice from them? Because you talk to hundreds of people, over the course of a month, and you're coaching them all. What general advice would you have?
General question that I get asked when people just hear about lean and they're new to lean, Alen, there's so much. I went to your site. There's so many tools.
Yeah.
This new methodology sounds all great, but where do I start? That's the general question that I ask people that are very new to lean. And I tell them, start from beginning. When you build a house, ask them, what do you build first? Do you build a good quality roof and the walls? Or do you build a foundation? They say, no. Yeah, it doesn't matter how good the walls are and the roof. If the foundation is poorly done, it's going to crash, right? So I said same thing in lean. Start with the foundation. What is foundation in lean? They asked me that question. I said 5S. There's a good saying in lean culture that we have or in our lean environment is, if you can't do 5S, forget about the rest. If you can't have a 5S workplace organization, organize yourself, ValueStream might not be helpful to you to learn. A3 problem solving not helping to you. Maybe A3 problem solving tool that you're trying to use is because you don't have a good workplace organization. You don't follow 5S methodology. So that's where I usually advise them to start from the beginning. And the beginning would be, let's learn 5S and let's learn how to see the waste in the process. Very important. Anytime I train anyone, doesn't matter what company, is basically I don't train them anything unless they understand 5S, and they can give me an example, and they understand 8 deadly wastes. I know it used to be 7, now it's 8.
Or 9.
Or 9, whatever. We can keep adding. Maybe next year when we have a podcast, it might be 10.
Yeah.
But now, let's say 7 or 8 deadly wastes, 7 very known wastes, and then 8 deadly wastes not utilizing employee skill or talents, is they need to understand.
Yeah.
And when you learn from beginning how to see a waste, the rest are going to be a lot easier. When it comes to the problem-solving methodologies and tools, when it comes to ValueStream mapping and other things, you will understand it better, you will see it better, and you're not going to put any waste into that process, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I advise whoever I speak to. They're new to lean. Let's start from beginning.
Yeah.
Let's do some examples. And people, some get excited and call me. I have friends, they're not our customer, but they're my friends, and they ask me about, hey, what do you do for a living, this and that, and I start talking to them about seeing waste and this and all that. Now they go to restaurants, for example, and they tell me, oh, Alen, you would love this. I seen waste in transportation, motion, these people, the way they move and all that. So they get excited, and that's I think the key is to have a good, solid understanding of lean. And where do you start? Start from the beginning.
Yeah, love it. Awesome. All right, my friend. I know you got coaching calls probably to go jump on here. So I want to keep you in the booth here all day. If folks wanted to connect with you personally, Alen, what's the best way?
So now it's very easy because you can go through Gemba Academy website and you can send me an email, for example, reach out that way. But LinkedIn is always the best. I love networking, talking to people. LinkedIn is another way to reach out.
Yeah, and so it's Alen, A-L-E-N, one L.
Yes.
And then Ganic is G-A-N-I-C.
Yes.
No K.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, we're going to have everything linked up in the show notes, everyone. So just kind of scroll down on your app and go connect with Alen if you're not already. So awesome, man. Hey, thanks for coming on. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you for having me again.
Thanks for listening. Whether you've been on the continuous improvement journey for many years, or perhaps you're just getting started, Gemba Academy is here to support you. And while we're best known for our more than 1,500 Lean and Six Sigma teaching and virtual tour videos, we also have a team of experienced Lean and Six Sigma practitioners available for one-on-one coaching, as well as a variety of Lean and Six Sigma certification options. To learn more and to schedule a demo, head on over to GembaAcademy.com.